Hi, everyone, and welcome to our first Digi event in English. Sorry for the little delay. We had a little technical difficulties there. Just wanted to give you a quick introduction about actually what Digi events are. Those are short events that we always do, usually in the morning, around 45 minutes online on different topics around digitization. Those events are always being presented by one or several of our Digi experts that we have on our page working with us, delivering great content both in the events but also as articles and posts. Well, the good thing is that if you don't have the time to join the live event, then you can always still watch our events later on our website. You find it on YouTube and you find it on Facebook as well. And after this event, and always after every event, we'll still give you some additional interesting information about so we have a lot of different interesting articles that are usually written by the expert that is talking to you during the event, in this case also. And well, this event, as you know, is going to be about how to boost your business with email marketing. And our guest and presenter today is Konstantin Buda, who I'm going to hand over to now. And I hope you will have a good time with him. Hi, Konstantin.
Hi, Ansgar. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for this. Welcome, and let me start by sharing my screen. I hope everybody can see my screen. Today we talk about email marketing, and I'm going to walk you quickly through our time together here. So I'm going to just go into what email marketing is and a little bit of statistics, so you'll kind of see that in perspective. The types of email, what kind of types of email are there out there, what you can use. And also, I'm going to talk about the email structure, some best practices, tools, automation, and I hope we have some time together to answer your questions in the Q&A session at the end. So let's just dive into it. Before we start, let me quickly also tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm the founder and CEO of Vitalico Digital. We are a B2B marketing agency in Helsinki. I have a sales and marketing background. Basically, for the past 15 years, I've worked in sales and marketing in different tech companies in Finland and in Switzerland. I work, as I said, with B2B tech companies, helping them with their marketing. Originally from Romania. I've been living now for ages in Finland, and prior to that, I lived in Switzerland. So let's quickly see. What do you guys think? What's the purpose of an email, right? I mean, if you drop a few notes in the chat, like remember, there is no right or wrong answer, right? There is only your view and how you see what the purpose of an email is. And after that, I'm gonna share what I think the purpose of an email is. But feel free to just drop a couple of comments in the chat, and so we can have a look of the feeling of what you guys think. All right. I'm unable to see the chat for some reason, but let's just I'm going to assume that you guys dropped a few lines there. So here is my personal view of what the purpose of email is. It's to start a conversation. You want to start a conversation with your audience, with the other part. That's why you send an email, right? It's not to sell, it's not to promote, it's not to I mean, it's all of that as well, but the main goal for me personally, and how I teach it or how I present it to my clients and to my customers, that you want to start a conversation. You don't want to be too boring, right? Good. So let's see what others are saying about what email marketing is, right? So MailChimp says that email marketing, it helps you build your customer or relationship with your customers, and it also helps you nurture your leads and convert them into long-lasting customers. The competitor of MailChimp, Sending Blue, another email marketing software, says that email marketing is used to inform, drive sales, and build a community around your brand, right? So one of the things to do that is basically the newsletter, for example. And this is quite important, that email, actually, what they say is that email focuses on consent. You don't want to send unsolicited email, segmentation, and personalization. And because I've mentioned segmentation, I think that one of the key things of today's session, if I have to leave you with one thing for you to remember, is this: that success in email marketing depends on how good you can segment your contacts, your leads, right? It doesn't really matter that you have a bunch of them if you cannot segment them, if you cannot divide them into different categories. It's just not gonna work. It's just gonna be a mass database of nothing, right? So let me show you what I mean by that, and I'm gonna give you an example of the segmentation, like an example of a segmentation, and we're gonna look at this a little bit later as well, how this all ties into the whole process, right? The segmentation. So according to HubSpot, this is an example of how you can segment your contacts, right? So there's different levels of segmentation, like demographics, like age, gender, income, for example, geographic, psychographic segmentation, behavioral segmentation. So I'm not going to go deep into those because that's part of a more advanced class or more advanced topic. But this is to give you an idea of how you can segment, like the many ways you can actually segment your audience. And we will see how that all ties in a little bit later, right? So the stats, I'm gonna now bore you with a lot of statistics in case you didn't know anything about email, or you haven't heard about email marketing, or you think that email marketing is dead, right? So HubSpot created a study last year, and according to the respondents, audience segmentation was one of the design, like one of the tactics to improve their email engagement. So as you saw, everybody looks at how good they can segment your audience, their contacts, their leads, if you want, right? 99% of email users check their email every day, sometimes as much as 20 times a day, right? That kind of tends to be the social media, like how much time do you check Facebook or Instagram, right? But email, it's more prevalent. Like everybody's checking their email for work email, personal email, whatever, if you ordered something. So it's quite a staggering number, 20 times a day, right? And this is according to OptiMonster, as a source. They made a study, right? Now, here is another interesting fact, that email generates $38 for every dollar spent. So talking about the return on investment, that's quite powerful, right? If you think about it, that's according to the same study HubSpot has done in 2020. I think there were about 3,000 to 4,000 respondents of their study and survey. Oh my God, more stats! I'm going to drown you in numbers today. So I'm not going to read them to you, but what I want to show you is that there's a massive potential with email. So email is still one of the key communication methods that businesses, people still use today. I mean, you have the phone, you have the SMS, you have your website, you have your blog, but still, if you want to get personal, email is still one of the main tools of communication, right? And with the increase in mobile usage, I think that this is going to be even more. It's so convenient to read your emails or access your emails on the go anytime you want, and that's also part of the one of the strategies that a lot of companies are using today. For example, to optimize their emails for mobile, for example. All right. So according to CrossSchedule, a tool for scheduling your content and emails, the best time to send your email is Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Wednesdays, maybe. But what I want to say to you is that this may be true in some countries or in most countries, but it might not be true in your own market. So what you need to do is you really need to test as much as possible. Send emails on different days, different times. See the open rates, see the click rates, see what works best for you in your market and your culture. It might not be accurate 100% all the time, right? A few more stats, and then we're going to get into some of the best practices. So, according to the same study by HubSpot, people or customers companies send about 3 to 4 times per week an email to customers. That's quite a lot if you think about it. But at the same time, because we're overwhelmed with emails, that's a fair number, right? I mean, we're overwhelmed with digital information. There's a huge noise around everything that's happening. So you have to be persistent. You have to send more emails in that sense to your target audience, but not just spam. And we're going to see in a minute how that all plays out. Last statistic for you, and this ties all into the beginning when we talked about, remember when I said like one slide to remember about the segmentation? Now, this is where the segmentation really plays in, and that's personalization. So most of the respondents in this study said that email personalization is actually one of the biggest tactics that they're focusing. Why is that? It's because you really want to deliver the right message to the right person at the right time, right? We don't want to just send emails for the sake of sending emails. Like, oh, look, I have sent 1,000 emails this week, but nothing happened, and everybody's unsubscribed or marked as a spam or reported you to some privacy authority for invading their space with too much spam in that sense, right? So you have to personalize it. This is where segmentation plays a very crucial role, because knowing your audience, knowing to whom you're sent, the better you know them, the more personalized you can actually make the message. All right, so let's look at the email structure. An email structure has 4 to 5 important elements, and I think that the biggest one, and we're gonna go deeper, a little bit deeper into all of those. But the first one, the subject line, you can look at it as your foot in the door, right? It's like when you raise your hand in class and the teacher picks you when you were a kid, right? That's what you need to think about it, like the subject line. It's one of the best ways to get into somebody's inbox and make that person to open your email, right? I mean, if the subject line is not interesting, why would I even continue going to the opening line and to the body and whatever you put into the email, right? Whatever I put into the email. Then you have the opening line, the body, the copy, like the meat, like what am I trying to convey with this email? Why am I sending you this email? Of course, the signature, that's also very important. And last but not least, and not to downplay the importance of it, you really need to have a privacy notice or an unsubscribe option into the email. So let's dive into the subject line, right? So the subject line should be short and concise. Like, why do I want you to open my email? Like, why is this relevant for you? And the goal here is to spark an interest, right? It's not to sell anything. It's not to promote anything. It's just to spark an interest for me to actually make that click and open to read further. Like, for example, you can start with the question like, if you've done, again, going back to the personalization, going back to the segmentation, if you've done your job right before, you can say something like, ask a question about their goals or their challenges that they might have, or have you considered, for example, option A or option B. Avoid spammy words at all costs, and I'm going to tell you why. It's not because they suck in essence, like final, complimentary, special, sales, discount. Unless you're in e-commerce, then obviously discount plays a big kind of keyword in your email opening. However, in a lot of environments, especially in the business world, most companies have a firewall which is trained to filter out emails that contain some of these words or all of these words, actually, right? So then by including words like complimentary, final, like reminder, etc., you might you might end up in their spam box and not reaching your target audience. Let's look at the opening line. Make it personal, right? I mean, who wants an email with "Hi, my name is," right? I mean, honestly, probably those will be deleted first ones, right? Talk to your reader and write like you talk. What do I mean by this? Make it so that you write in simple sentences and like you would talk to your friend, right? Imagine that you have an imaginary person in front of you and you explain them, or you want to reach to them in a very simple, friendly manner, right? Nobody likes jargon, even though you might have an industry full of jargons and acronyms and all that. Don't assume everybody that you're sending an email will know that, right? And sending a jargon, make it complicated, makes it even more confusing for the person. So instead of reaching your goal of sparking an interest and starting a conversation, you might create more confusion. So just remember that, right? The body of the email. So this should provide value, right? Why am I writing you? Like I sparked your interest, you open the email. Now I want to see what's in it for me. Why did you send me this email, right? So be specific and ask questions to their goals or challenges, perhaps, right? So for example, in a sales email, you would ask like something, is this a nice to have or this is a must have, right? Questions typically spark thinking, like make it personal to them and to their own industry, to their own business and market, perhaps, if possible, right? Every email like that you send should have at least one call to action. And if it's a direct email, for example, the idea would be to have one call to action. More of them would be confusing. And we're going to go a little bit later into that, like into the types of emails. But if it's a sales email and if it's a direct email, then I would personally include only one call to action. You want the person to focus only one thing or one action that you want them to perform, right? Like, for example, like book a meeting, or does it make sense? Kind of like ask a question that requires a follow-up from them. Do you have any more questions I can help you with, or if they're not clear? Let me know if boosting your email open rate is still a priority for you. Actually, this last point has actually a pretty good opening rate and also conversion rate in that sense, if used in a subject line. Like, for example, you can write something for that particular person industry. Let me know if, for example, buying a water filtration system for your factory is still a topic. It's still a hot topic for you, right, or a priority, or growing your sales a priority right now, right? So try to, and again, there are no rights or wrongs. It's all what works for you and your industry. So you have to try different things. You have to look at the data. You have to try that, gather data, and then analyze it and say, okay, this worked better on that segment, and this worked better on the other segment, and this worked better on that time, on that day versus other dates, right? Right. So the signature, the last, or the not the last part, but one of the last parts. Here are like three different types of signatures, and I think what you want to convey in a signature, in the email signature, is you want to leave enough information, but not overwhelmingly enough information, like images, like quotes and stuff like that. Not so much. Like, keep it simple and keep it as much as possible into text format. Why is that? Is because, again, a lot of companies have different security policies where images are filtered out or considered as spam, and then your email will end up looking like disgusting into a screen, like horrible, like how the firewalls and antivirus programs remove all the images and leave just the links. So keep it simple, include enough information so the person can reach out to you. Several options, like perhaps you have an email, you have a phone number, you have a website. A website is a must. You have to have a website, or if you don't have a website, or if you think a blog is more relevant, put a link to your blog. Last but not least, you don't want to have that missed out. You have to respect the data privacy of individuals. And depending on your country, your region, like in Europe, we have the GDPR, and it's a must that you put the link to unsubscribe, to give the people the possibility to opt out of that communication, and also a link to the privacy policy, how you handle their data, how you handle their personal information, right? So I mentioned that there are several types of emails, and I want to explain you how I see it and how we work with clients in that sense. From my perspective, the most common ones are marketing emails and sales emails, and they're slightly different in the goals. They're slightly different in the format. They're slightly different in the outcomes, right? If you're working in a company and you have the possibility to have a sales and a marketing department, or at least somebody does sales and somebody does marketing, you would have that with marketing. The ultimate goal is to help the sales team, to make sales easier, right? There's no other ultimate goal for marketing than make sales easier. You have, of course, increased brand awareness and all that, but if you don't have sales, there is nothing to increase, right? There's no growth. So then in marketing email, you can look at it from the perspective of providing the relevant information about your products and services, or about the industry in general that you're operating, to the audience, to your contacts, and that eventually will help the sales run smoother, right? You also want to collect the marketing emails also collect information about their challenges and goals, about your audience, so then you know more about it. And it's also something that you send to people that opted in. Now, when you think about the marketing email and about all the things that are listed there, and also about the fact that you really want to help somebody make a decision. Now, once you've created that momentum, once people received information, once you know more about them, it's easier for sales to pick that from where you left it as a marketing, let's just say, team, if you want to, or person, if you want to look at it like that, and then start the conversation further and focus specifically then on how to help them further, how your product or service can help them achieve their goals or challenges. So the sales email, if you want, has a slightly different goal, and the goal would be to start a conversation with like one-on-one conversation with the prospect that already received a lot of information from the marketing emails previously, right? You want to provide value, and so they can make a purchase decision. Maybe they won't purchase from you directly. Perhaps they will purchase from a competitor. Nevertheless, you provided value throughout the whole process, and that person will never forget that. And who knows, people change jobs, they might come back to you regardless. Now, some might say that the role of marketing ends when the role of sales starts, and I have to disagree strongly with that, because even if a prospect started the conversation with the sales, the role of marketing is to continue providing valuable information for that person, so that at the same time with sales, they help that person solve a problem or achieve their goal or make a decision in that sense. So therefore, again, we're going back to the same thing about personalization, which leads to segmentation. The more you personalize, the higher chance you have to start a conversation and close a deal with that particular prospect or lead. All right, so let's look at some tools. And like when you talk about email marketing, probably everybody send an email with Outlook or Google Gmail and so forth. But when I'm looking at a little bit further than that, I'm looking at tools that enable you to to segment. I cannot stress that enough. Probably, you know, this whole webinar should be segment titled, but should have the possibility to segment your audience as deep as it can get, right? Have a free plan. You want to try something out. You want to see if it works first, and if it works for your business, and then go to higher tiers, right? Then you have a drag and drop designer. Most of the tools today have a drag and drop designer, which means that anybody can create an email. Anybody can create a template within that tool. Predefined templates proven by users means that do your research and see what others say about that tool, if the reviews, the good, the bad, the ugly. Flexible and easy to use, and two of my favorites, powerful analytics and integrations. Why am I saying that? Is because email marketing without analytics is almost nothing. If you cannot measure and understand what's happening from your actions, basically you can start using Outlook and have an Excel with all the contacts in it and have zero overview. And integrations means that look for a tool that can integrate with other tools. As your business will grow, you will probably want to have these two connected and have a bigger understanding of what's happening in your business environment. Here's a couple of examples that are quite popular. I've used so far MailChimp, one of the oldest actually. They have a free plan, drag and drop editor, good analytics, good segmentation. Then you have Active Campaign. If you want a little bit deeper, it has a CRM built in and also automation capabilities. We're going to talk a little bit later about that. Then you have HubSpot, one of my favorite tools. It's because it encompasses a lot of other functionalities besides email. So it gives you a 360 overview to your whole kind of marketing and sales and business environment, from customer relationship management to sales, marketing, and support and service. Then you have Constant Contact, Sending Blue, and Drip. For example, if you're in e-commerce, or if you're working or planning to open a business in e-commerce, then you have it's quite important, right? So I'm sure you people have seen this before, or at least this kind of explains basically what the next topic is, and that is automation. And I think that a lot of people think that automation is something that it's a magic silver bullet for a lot of things. But no, actually automation looks at repeating like automating repeating tasks, like for example follow-ups. When you think about follow-ups, when you send an email, typically you have to follow up at least 2 to 3 to 4 times until you get an answer. And that's not because the other person probably it's not interested, but it's because everybody is receiving so much email that at some point you really need to be persistent and keep kind of like at the top of that person's inbox to get the attention, right? It helps you keep your contacts engaged, and it also helps you follow up on your sales leads. I'm going to show you a couple of examples when it comes to automation. Some of the automation parts you shouldn't, some of the email parts you shouldn't automate. Like for example, if it's a one-on-one direct email with somebody, I would say it should be at least direct email, and you should have some kind of involvement in it. Even though automation seems, fancy, but the automation part is just the system doing a task for you. You will write those emails. The emails, again, should be personal and should be to the point and relevant to that person, to that audience. Short, concise, and to the point. So then the automation will just take care of the part that you have to do it every third day, every fourth day, every fifth day, etc., right? It also, from a marketing perspective, it keeps your audience nurtured with relevant information. And I'm going to quickly go back to the example of sales and marketing. From my personal experience working in sales, it was always funny to like looking back, like to observe my behavior in a way that every time we got a new lead or I got a new lead from marketing or from the web or directly into my inbox, I was, okay, I'm going to follow up right now with them and pick up the phone, call the person, try to see what their status is, why did they wanted communication with us or an interest in our business and product, and then immediately decide on the spot if the person wants to buy or not. And in most cases, the person wanted just some information and it wasn't an immediate close to that particular sale. Now, what I was doing, I was just, okay, so not interested in buying. Okay, good, thanks, bye. That was it, right? So nothing happened after that. That person doesn't mean that they won't, end up buying from you further down the line. Perhaps they were not ready at that point. Now, here is where nurturing comes in quite, and it's quite relevant, because in a full kind of aligned sales and marketing department, there is a process where sales actually qualifies the lead, or the marketing qualifies the lead first. The sales picks it up at some point, and if the person is still not ready to move forward in their buyer's journey, the lead is passed back to marketing for them to nurture them with content, with blogs, with white papers, with guides, with whatever is necessary, or whatever you have in your own industry as a let's just say content material to help them make a decision further down the line. So let's look at an example. And this is I'm not gonna go, and I'm not gonna open this example further than just this is basically an automated email where the email is written. It was a predefined written. It was assigned to a particular segment audience, and basically there were like 5 emails into the whole process. I think 5 steps. And it took 21 business days to complete. Now, what happened was that if I enrolled a list of contacts into the sequence, the system would then send the first email. Then, if there was no answer in 3 days, 3 business days, then there's the second email, etc., etc. Now, this is such designed that the contacts will jump out of the sequence into 2 instances. Number 1, if they reply to your email, which means that there is an interest and you already achieved your goal by sparking an interest and starting a conversation. Then the conversation moves on a one-on-one base, and they jump out of the automated process, so to speak. And second, within the, because this is done by HubSpot, within the emails, within each email, in my signature, there is a meeting link to my calendar, where people can choose times in my calendar to book a time suitable to talk to me. So if somebody actually clicks on that link and books a time, it will also enable them to jump out of the sequence. Just to show you some statistics, this was from a campaign we created for a client, and we enrolled. It was specifically designed for a segment in the Finnish market. We enrolled only 244 contacts. We had a massive open rate, but what's more interesting, we had a very massive reply rate. Typically that doesn't really happen, but the emails were so well designed and spoke to the audience that people felt compelled to reply to it and said, this is great, this was amazing, yeah, I want to book a meeting and learn more, I want to hear more, talk to me, and so forth. You always have the bounce rate where people don't they change jobs, etc., etc. But this is data that you gather once you have a system in place, right? So we go back to the tools. When I mentioned analytics, I think that this is a critical part of any kind of action when it comes to email marketing, that you need to be able to measure all your actions, so you can take corrective actions if it doesn't work. All right, so if I close with this, so there's a couple of why you should consider email marketing. There's a couple of benefits, right? Number 1, you increase your brand awareness. keeping people nurtured and keeping people with information about your brand, about your company, makes it for them more relevant, right? There's a saying that the eyes that you don't see, you forget. That's exactly the same with this, right? So we had to give you an example into that. We had a customer that we worked with, and they were doing events, meaning they were going a lot at events, and they were gathering from those events all over Europe. They were gathering a massive amount of business cards and leads, and all those were then put into a CRM. So what happened was that immediately after the event, they were sending hey, thank you for meeting us at our stand. It was great meeting you. Here's some information that I promised you. You send that information, and that's it. Imagine, like, if you've been to an event, at least to one event, you at least know that when you go to an event, you meet so many people that you won't remember, right? So you gather also your business cards, etc. So you will receive all these emails as well. Now, what happened with this particular client is that they did that step only, and then nothing happened. Some of them might, for example, like 100, like 100 contacts, maybe 5 of them replied back and said, yeah, I would like to see please send me more information. I'd like to see a demo of your product and service. But if nothing happened after that, then nothing, the customer didn't do anything further. Now, further down the line, there was a huge database of contacts from different events. And after a year, we looked at the database like, okay, so should we re-engage with those people? Most of them completely forgot. Second, some of them changed jobs and it wasn't relevant for them. So therefore, you really need to be on top of things. You really need to be kind of reminding people that you exist, even if it's not a sale, even if you don't want to sell anything at that moment, but keep the people on their toes. Hey, this brand still here. It's still here. I might need a service or a product. Their product was interesting, or I've heard good things about them, right? Drive sales, another benefit. Build trust and loyalty. I think that this is extremely crucial for at least B2C businesses, and also B2B as well. Drive traffic to your website and blog. From a marketing email marketing perspective, you will send, like, with specific designed marketing emails. You would promote your content, or at least you would share your content that you write, guides, white papers, blog articles, etc. And last but not least, automate routine tasks like we saw before, like follow-up and different nurturing activities. So I think that email marketing is very much alive, and I think email marketing is still one of the top, if not the top, communication tool or engagement tool for any business. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I think that our time is almost up. I would love to see if you guys have any questions that I might be able to answer. And I really hope you found this useful. Don't forget, there is no right or wrong. You just have to start. You just have to try something, measure it, and then improve, iterate, improve, repeat. Do this again. So from my side, thank you. Feel free to reach out with questions if you have any, and also connect with me in LinkedIn. Like, reach out if we're not connected already. Thank you.
Thank you, Konstantin. Actually, we have a few questions. So, like, if you have a few seconds to quickly, let's go just for 2 of them, since we're otherwise going to have a very long event. We have one here from Johannes Boren, and he was asking attachment with more information. Is that a good thing to do with the first contact email?
Honestly, no. Like, the more information, like, from experience, it's like you really want to spark that conversation. Like, if it's a marketing email, I would rather encourage to put that attachment also on a link somehow. Why is that? Is because if you just send an attachment from your Outlook or from your Gmail, number one, there is a high chance that it might end up into spam. For example, if you're in the banking sector, and we know how banks are with privacy. Every attachment, if it's not from a trusted source, might end up in quarantine, in spam, etc., until it's released. So I would prefer adding a link to more information, or I actually even add a call to action, like I'm happy to share more if you're interested, if this is a topic, and then you kind of get the express consent from that person. You've raised their interest. So try to raise the interest in the first few sentences for them to actually, yeah, that's interesting. I'd like to hear more. But what I do when I send an email with more information, I typically put it behind the link. That's because I use HubSpot, and in HubSpot, putting it behind the link gives me then a lot more information about what's happening with that email. Number one, I can see if somebody clicked on that link, and if they clicked it, then how much time they spend on it, which page they looked on the link, which is valuable information for me if I really want to follow up. So yeah, I would avoid attachment in the first contact email.
Right. Another question we have here from Jog Farm is actually, what are your thoughts on video email marketing?
Yes.
I think just quickly, let's do that. And one more, and then I think we're done for today.
Very quickly, video email marketing. So to be honest, video is one of the most relevant tool that marketers have today. So we've used video with Vidyard in emails. Basically, you can actually make it personal, and like, for example, I can record a video with your name on it here, saying like, hi, Ansgar, for example, and imagine you receive an email with a screenshot with your name here, right? You would probably be inclined to click on that more than actually read it. It's personal. Somebody actually did the homework. And then there's this contact, right? And within 1 minute or 30 seconds, you can say more than you could write in, 2 or 3 sentences, right? So it's definitely more personal. And if you follow Vidyard, or if you Google for it, and if you start looking through their content, they have some pretty massive data to support this claim.
All right, great last question. Well, that's about the length of the email here from Creative Renaissance. Like, length is a big factor. What do you think? Like, how long should? Well, it's a tough question, of course, but like, what do you have some ideas, some suggestions?
Well, as I think, totally, this is a great question, and I agree with you. Length is a big factor. So therefore, this is good that it builds on the previous question, that where video plays an important role, right? Within 1 minute, you can say much more than you could say into a few sentences. However, again, I'm going to go to my first to one of my first slides when I said that the role of marketing is to spark a conversation. So you really want to spark a conversation. You don't want to send them a novel to read. They can do that, like everybody can do that, on their free time. So the shorter and more concise, the better it is, right? So in a lot of emails, we just, like I just sent, for example, hi, Ansgar, for example, I hope you're well. Just checking in, is marketing automation still a topic for you? If yes, I would love to tell you more, and I would love to help you. Best regards, bye, right? So that's it. Of course, then again, all the attachments, links, and other parts will play a role once you spark that conversation, once somebody responded to you.
All right. Well, we have some more questions, but I think we're going to stop here. Thank you very much. And actually, you will be able to talk to Konstantin still on your own. As I said, he's one of our Digi experts. You find him from our event page, and you can reach out to him in person. One more thing that is actually interesting concerning that, I think he gave us quite a good insight into what email marketing is about, what you should pay attention to. We always try to build our events so that you can do things on your own. However, if you think that you need his help with something, maybe just to get some more insights about your about your own business, some really like targeted suggestions, then you can actually get one of our Digi vouchers. We have them for different amounts of hours, and together with Konstantin, we're offering actually one discount that's only valid now for the next 2 weeks. That you will get like a 75 euro discount on 2 hours with Konstantin. You'll find the voucher and in the link in the comments. And yeah, also reach out to him in any other way. There is also a lot of interesting content that Konstantin wrote on our page. You'll find that on his own page, and you'll find it on the event page, which I also linked to you in the comments. And last but not least, we have events actually at least once a month, English events once a month. And the next one that is coming up, I'm going to put the link also again in the comments, is going to be on SEO. Super important and interesting topic. It's going to be with Juliet, one of our other Digi experts, and you can already register for that now. The event is going to be on April 20th, depending on the time zone that you're in. You'll see what time actually applies. And that's basically everything from us for now. And thanks a lot for watching. You can always watch this later still and reach out to us if you have any other questions. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.